And here on this journey here today, Jesus authenticated a woman with no name. This woman became alive to us today, women and men alike. And the reason she became alive is because her life, our life, mimics her life. The things that she was going through in her life, we go through today. And you know, when we read the Word of God should become alive to us, and it should become alive in us. Now, this here, what we're talking about here, is not a story that's foreign to us, because we've all heard this story. But I just want to talk about today just from a different outlook. And we're talking about the woman that was plagued by an issue of blood for 12 years. I don't know about you, but it's hard to fathom an issue of plaguing someone for 12 years. I don't know, I think any of us here today have had an issue that has plagued us for 12 long years. And when we think about this, we have to think about that it has a lot of ramifications for us, because when we look at it, it affects us in more than one way. We have to look at this, and we have to ask ourselves, what does this mean to you? What does it mean to you to be plagued with something for 12 years? It has to mean something to you socially. It has to mean something to you emotionally, something to you physically, something to you financially, and something to you spiritually. It does something to us anytime we're plagued with an illness or with a situation or circumstances. It bothers us, and it affects all areas of our lives. Here, there was one blood issue, and it triggered an avalanche of other issues. Even today, this phenomenon continues. One issue messes us up on all levels. We can have one thing going wrong with us, and it messes us up in all areas. We can get a headache, and from that headache, sometimes our back will start hurting. Then our knees will start hurting. Or somebody will say something to us, and it'll bother us what they're saying, because our head is hurting and we don't want to hear what they're saying, and it bothers us, that plagues us. Here, one issue of blood plagued this woman for 12 long years. Her life was a mess, and her issues was growing, because that one problem led to many problems. And a lot of times when we read this story, we didn't understand exactly what this woman was going through. But she went through so much, because when we look at back then, when they had an issue of blood like this woman had to be set aside. She could not be with any other body, because she was bleeding. When a woman was bleeding, that means she was unclean. And so she's unclean, that means she's isolated. Nobody could be around her. Nobody could touch her. She had to be set aside all by herself. And when she's set aside, that means she's lonely. That means she has nobody that she can talk to. She has no social life. And when she's set aside like that, that means emotionally she's apt to get depressed, because she's all by herself and she has nothing to think about except for this disease, this issue that's bothering her, that she can't do anything about physically. She couldn't do anything, because this is something that we go through, but not for 12 long years. So she had a lot plaguing her and bothering her. And then financially, if she was a woman that was used to working, she couldn't even go to work, because she was considered unclean and she had to be isolated. So she had to be by herself. So that means she couldn't even make any money. And if she was a wife, she couldn't even assist her husband, because she couldn't even be with her family spiritually. She couldn't even go to church and worship with the saints on Sunday. She couldn't go to prayer meeting. She couldn't go to Bible class. All the things this woman did, she had to do by herself, because of the issue that she was up under. And she had to ask herself, and I know she did over and over again, what did I do to deserve this? Who made the decision that this would be my course? Where can I go to get some answers? Why am I cursed? Why am I not good enough? Why do my family and friends reject me? Even my job and my church. Why am I so unloved? How can I be healed? And who's going to heal me? Who's going to help me over and over again. I don't know about you, but does this sound familiar at all to anybody? Have you ever been bombarded with thoughts and with questions and you want to find out, well, what is going on? I don't know what's going on with my life. Everything I touch seems to go wrong. Every direction is the wrong direction. And looks like everything that you think about makes your situation worse. Well, what we sometimes do, we go and we have a pity party. We blame other people and we blame everything else for our circumstances. We cry out and we ask, what can I do? What can ease my aching heart? And how can I be healed when you all are in pain and when you're going through? We cry out and we say, Lord, why am I in this? Why am I in this way? Why do I feel this way? Why am I suffering like this? My life feels just like it's a mess. Sometimes things is happening in school and you just can't get your lessons right and you messing up. You don't understand the teacher or the teacher don't understand you. And then you don't have friends. The friends at school, they're talking about you. They're saying all manner of things. And you wonder, well, what's going on with me? What is it about me? Why they treat me like they're treating me? You know, and people don't seem to understand. And sometimes you try to tell your sisters or your brothers or your family at home what you're going through. And they don't have any idea what's bothering you. They don't know how to help you. You're talking to them and they just don't understand. But today I stand before you and I tell you today that we serve a God. We serve a God who can mend the broken hearts. We serve a God who heals all wounds. There is someone today that can help you in your situation. God can do anything but fail. We serve a God today that can help us to push past all of this mess. Because all of these issues and things that go on in our life, we don't have to stay where we are with them. We can push past them so that we can go on to do what God has for us to do. We serve a God that we can reach out and we can touch. The woman with the issue of blood, she needed to reach out and she needed to touch someone. But with her illness and with her disease, she was unable to do that at the time because she had to be isolated and she had to be all alone to herself. So the only one that she had to reach out to is herself. And she would talk to her.